My name is Dr. Praveen Naidu, the Director, Advocacy and Stakeholder Relations in the Inspections and Enforcement Branch of the Department of Employment and Labour Head Office in Pretoria. We believe in effective stakeholder relations, forming partnerships with different government departments and entities to achieve our mutual objectives. So to that effect, we find that our partnerships with the International Labour Organization, the ILO, the South African Maritime Safety Authority, and with us, the Department of Employment and Labour, is a mutually beneficial partnership to address a phenomenon that is occurring in the sector, in the marine fisheries sector, where labor legislation, labor laws are being flouted flagrantly and blatantly on the part of certain employers. But it's a widespread phenomenon in the marine fisheries sector. So we wanted to concretize our relationship with SAMSA, the South African Maritime Safety Authority, facilitated by the ILO, and we have now entered into a memorandum of understanding between the Department of Employment and Labour and SAMSA, where we regulate our relationship in terms of working together in terms of labour inspection on fishing vessels, as well as the marine fisheries sector. From our side, the MOU has still got to be signed. We intend having the MOU signed within the next 30 days by our Director General. And once the MOU is signed, then that will provide us with a baseline to unpack our relationship and to implement our joint mandates. So by bringing our resources together, SAMSA and the Department of Employment and Labour, we intend to make a measurable difference in terms of alleviating the issues that is confronting fishers in the marine fisheries sector. So only by joining hands and working together as a team can we address these issues and overcome these issues, labor issues, in the marine fisheries sector. So we would also like to thank the ILO for this project by bringing the Department of Employment and Labour as well as SAMSA together to really address unacceptable labor conditions in the marine fisheries sector. And we hope that with our partnership going forward, that other countries will also be able to use us as a case study on how to address issues pertaining to fishers in their own countries. And we are ready to share our knowledge in that regard with them.
You mentioned the international community and the readiness and preparedness that South Africa has in terms of contributing to the regulation of working conditions of labor in the fisheries sector. I'm assuming that this initiative here, the training, is within context of the C188, the ILO C188,
Correct.
And the C190.
Yes.
And this specific workshop is looking specifically at forced labor.
Yes.
What is the prevalence of forced labor in the fishing industry in South Africa?
You rightly mentioned Convention 188. Convention 188 is an international instrument which South Africa is a party to. So South Africa is a signatory to that convention. So we are bound by the terms and conditions of Convention 188. So having said that, the convention is an international instrument which broadly sets out the parameters under which the working conditions of fishers must be regulated. So what would happen is that national legislation, national labor legislation, must be in conformance with the International Labor Convention, which is Convention 188. And we are lucky that we is a signatory to that convention, so we are bound by the terms and conditions of Convention 188. So having said that, the convention is an international instrument which broadly sets out the parameters under which the working conditions of fishers must be regulated. So what would happen is that national legislation, national labor legislation, must be in conformance with the International Labor Convention, which is Convention 188. And we are lucky that we have very progressive labor legislation in South Africa, which conforms to the basic minimum conditions that are set out for fishers in the Convention 188. For example, in South Africa, we have a piece of labor legislation called the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. Within that Basic Conditions of Employment Act, there is a section on forced labor. So it addresses Convention 188 as well. So, as I said, we have progressive legislation. The challenge is implementation of the legislation. And it's only when different government entities come together in terms of intergovernmental relations can we really make a difference on the ground, and in this case in the marine fisheries sector.
You mentioned various government departments. Can you mention what the government departments are involved in this specific workshop by the ILO?
Yes, it is the Department of Employment and Labour. It is the Department of Transport, which SAMSA is an entity of. It's also the Department of Forestries, Fisheries and Environment that are part of this capacity building session. So it's a good tripartite relationship, because our mandates complement each other, and it's no use working in a divergent way. We should be working as a team.
Finally, sir, it is my understanding that this is the second workshop of its kind on the specific issue. Would it be fair to ask if we could look forward possibly to another in the Western Cape?
Yes, definitely. Or it should be in another coastal province like KwaZulu-Natal or the Western Cape or the Northern Cape as well. So it should be taken around the country. But however, the Western Cape and Eastern Cape, the fishing phenomenon is more prevalent than the other provinces, other coastal provinces. So emphasis should be on the Western Cape and also to a smaller extent the Northern Cape as well. But definitely there should be more capacity building sessions of this nature for government officials, labor inspectors, the fisheries inspectors, and the SAMSA inspectors as well. So that people sing from the same score sheet, so to speak.
I said that would be my final question, but my final question is, we are a maritime country, and it just so happens that we have a few commercial activities taking place within inland waters. To what extent is there commercial fishing in the inland waters, if there is any?
I think there is some commercial activity, but it's very minor compared to coastal fishing. So it'll probably be river fishing, but it will be definitely on a much more smaller scale. I'm not too privy to that information, but if that is taking place, it's on a very small scale.
I asked the question on the basis of what you just said about the necessity and the appropriateness of workshops of this nature being taken as widely as possible within
throughout the country.
So thank you very much for your time. I truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.